What's up, everybody? It's Jeeplandish here. It's been a few days, but back at the 2004 TJ, and we finally, after all these weeks, got some parts in. So we're going to go ahead and try to install those and do a step-by-step on how those spider gears go back in. Again, I know that it's been a few days. You know, parts with the one company didn't come in, so we had to go through a local auto parts store in order to get those parts you know, more quickly. So I'm going to spin you to what we got, and we're going to start installing these things.
All right, so originally we had ordered through one of the you know, the major Jeep companies, and the spider gears were on back order and supposed to be shipped out from the you know, the manufacturer, but we received no updates on that. So we went to the local auto parts store and we got the spider gears from the USA Standard Gear. I'm not sure about the quality, but we're going to test it out, and the price was much cheaper, so you know, we'll do a an after review on how they're holding up, but we're going to go ahead and get these installed.
All right, so back over here, I have the axles out, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and clean them up because they've been sitting out for a few days. Lubricate them up with some gear oil, install them back into the axle housings, and install the spider gears. The one thing that we did not get that I'm a little concerned about are the clutch pads for the spider gear and the axle. So we're gonna roll with it for now. Worst case is that these USA Standard spider gears are about half the price as what we were gonna pay through one of the local Pennsylvania Jeep dealers. So not the greatest approach to this. However, given the time constraints that we're dealing with right now, we're going to go ahead and do.
All right, so of course the Dana 35 axles, just got some 80 W90 gear oil here that we're going to go ahead and lubricate these up with.
All right, we just went ahead and put some of this this gear oil on a rag. We're just going to lubricate these axles because, like I said, they've been sitting out here for a little while in the weather. No rust, but I want to give it a good good bit of oil just to protect it and make it, inserting back into the axle housing a little bit better and easier. So right there you have it. We've greased them up pretty well, and we'll go ahead and slide these back in the axle housings.
All right, so we are pushing the axle into the axle housing, and she's going to push it in, and I'm just going to guide her through the clutch plates, which she is good now. Go ahead and push all the way in. All right, she is good. So she's going to go ahead to the passenger or the driver's side now, and we're going to go ahead and put that side in also. All right, driver's side going in, just guiding it through. Still not all the way.
Better?
Nope. Yep, keep coming. All right. And push it all the way in.
Your hand out?
Yep, you're good. All right, and the driver's side
All
is
right,
in.
so we got the axles back in the axle housing. Now I've opened up the parts here. The side gears, the planetary gears. Make sure that you put the plates back on the underside of the side gears. And the planetary gears need to have the cups on the back side. You also have your pin and your bolt. All right, so we're gonna place the side gears on first. You're just gonna back the axle out a little bit with your hand. Place the side gear up onto the driver's side axle. And then with your foot, you can pretty much kick the axle back in and get it seated. Just like that. Same thing for the passenger. I'm gonna have Natalie help me on the passenger side. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the axle. I'll tell you when. And push it in. Yep, keep going.
All right, and that is seated. All right, and once those are seated, what it's gonna look like is something like that. Both axle shafts are pushed back through the side gears, and now what we need to do is we need to install the planetary gears. So we're gonna do that next. All right, so planetary gears are a little bit more difficult, and what we're gonna do is make sure the cup's on the back side, place a gear in, spin, make sure your vehicle's in neutral, and then spin your ring and pinion to the point where the holes line up. Now, the difficult part is you're gonna have to get this back side on too, and this is much easier if the entire thing's disassembled, but we don't have that luxury, so we're going to try our best to get them both lined up. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna place this gear in. All right, so it's kind of a pain to line it up, but you get the spider gears in there, or the planetary gears, and then you're manipulating the axle shaft to turn it to line up the holes for the cross pin here. What I have done is I've just rotated this back and forth until the point where the holes align on both sides. And now I'm going to be able to get the cross pin to go through. I'm going to actually have to back the axles out just a tad because that has to go all the way through there. So that's the next step. All right, so like I was saying, the side gears are in, the planetary gears in. Now we're going to have to get the axle clips on. Simply push your axle through the axle housing as far as it will go, and then just insert them and push your axle back. All right, so one clip's in. Like I was saying, push the axle through, insert your clip, and then push the axle back out toward the side of the vehicle. So same thing on the passenger side. We have it here, and then I'm gonna have Natalie pull the axle housing back out that way. Pull, there you go. And there you have it. It appears that the planetary gears are lined up right now. We're going to check. We're going to get the cross pin, and we're going to try to insert that. So here's the part where the bolt will go through. So we need to get this pin lined up with the hole here. And it is going in so far. A little too far. Push it through, and then you're going to put a 1/4 inch wrench on this, and you're going to tighten it up, just making sure that the pin is aligned. So pushing the bolt through, making sure you have it aligned, and then you're going to just tighten this down. As you just, opposite way if you disassemble it. It helps when you have a ratcheting 1/4 inch, but make sure it's 12 point, and you're going to tighten it up as much as you can. again, like I've mentioned in past videos, differentials are not my thing. I've had to research a lot. The spider gears seem fairly easy. I'm not sure that I would tackle a ring and pinion yet without far more experience, but this has gone pretty well so far, and hopefully it's going to work, and the vehicle will have no problems from this point on as far as the rear diff goes. The next steps, we're going to mount the brakes back up, put the tires on, put a gasket seal on this and get the rear diff cover back on, fill this thing with the rear diff fluid, and take it out for a test drive.
Alright, so spider gears, planetary gears, cross pin, everything's installed on the pumpkin. Now we're going to go ahead and put the drums back on and the tires. So here we're going to meet some resistance because the brakes have expanded. So with that being said, you might need to manipulate a little bit with a little bit of a sledge. Get them on there, everything is good. We're going to go ahead and pull the tire out and put this side on. We're only going to videotape the driver's side. Passenger side is going to be the exact same way. You're going to meet some resistance with the brake pads being expanded, you know, after the disassembly. So just give it a little manipulation, and you'll get your drum back on and the tires back on with no problem. This is pretty self-explanatory. I'm sure everybody's taking a tire off. Go ahead and get your lugs, place them on. Again, you're going to do this cross pattern when you tighten them. Get them on there first, hand tight. And her lug nuts have this star, you know, shaped lug here for like an anti-theft. So you're going to need your special adapter to put those on. But get everything hand tight first. Like I said, cross pattern, and snug them up with the lug wrench. All right, so we got both tires installed back on, a little bit more than hand tight. We're going to let the Jeep down, and we're going to go ahead and torque the lugs up to spec, and go ahead and get the diff cover gasket put on. I will tell you that we don't have the standard cork gasket. We're going to use some of the silicone stuff, and we're going to fill this thing back up with the gear oil and see if it runs correctly. So here we go. All right, so we're at the diff cover stage of this reassembly. We went ahead and sprayed it red, sanded it down. It was pretty rusted, both on the outside and on the inside. I hit it with the die grinder with some fine grit sandpaper. Gave it a red coat, and then we're going to use this Permatex gasket maker. Of course, you can use the cork version, you know, with getting a kit, but we're going to go ahead and try this out just because of the irregularities in the lip of this differential cover. So yeah, simply take your gasket sealer, turn your diff over, and you're going to hit the lip of it. Try to get around each bolt hole, and we'll install this with the bolts here in a minute. All right, so like I said before, you're going to just put a bead on this. And work your way around the outside, and you can hit the holes like this. What you don't want is you don't want the gasket material to get into the ring and pinion area. So this is not coming out wide enough, so we're going to cut this and give it a little bit more.
and you're simply going to work your way around the entire pumpkin doing this exact same thing. It's good to keep a straight bead, but the reality is it's difficult to do. Maybe there's professionals out there who know how to do it better, but this has always worked for me, and I'm going to continue this way. I forgot to introduce her, but the owner of this Jeep we're working on is Natalie, and she's running the camera today for us. And hopefully we get her back on the road with this fairly quick and easy fix of the spider gears. And I have confidence. I think it's gonna be fine. So, anybody experiencing the same thing? The spider gears, even though it was a fear of mine in the beginning, so far I'm feeling pretty confident about the install, and I'm really thinking that this is going to be a good fix for the Jeep. So finished it up. It does not look pretty, but that's okay. When we tighten everything up, it's going to sandwich it down, create that gasket, and hopefully give her the seal that she needs for the differential fluid. Again, we don't want too much compression of this material into the ring and pinion, but this is probably the quickest and easiest way to get a seal on your diff pumpkin is, except for buying the cork seal. So don't be afraid to use this stuff. I've used it for probably 20 plus years. It works fine, and you'll notice if you have a leak. So just keep an eye on your mechanical parts of your vehicle, and you should be good to go. All right, so diff gasket's on. We're going to go ahead and just put this on. Line your holes up best you can, and hold it in place until you can get a couple bolts in. All right, so we're gonna get these all put in, tightened up, and see you on the next clip. All right, folks, we got the diff back on, all the bolts tightened up, filled it up with the ADW90, and we're going to, well, I'm going to take it for a test drive and see how it sounds. All right, so we're off. Everything sounds good so far. And we're gonna pull out of the driveway here. First gear. Totally sounds like a different Jeep. What we thought was the drive shaft cranking on us or clunking on us was actually the spider gears. This thing is running smooth and perfect. And you might hear the exhaust. That's an aftermarket exhaust that the last owner put on. But the Jeep is running great right now. From just that little short trip of 25-50 feet. I'm going to take it down the street here and just make sure everything's good. Probably recheck the diff fluid after this to make sure it's got up into the axle housing to lubricate the actual axles. When I pumped it in, it was overflowing out of the fill port, but you got to let it get spun up into the axle housing. So I'll recheck that. We got all 10 diff bolts on. We were missing one and we ended up finding it. Other than that, this Jeep sounds like a totally different vehicle just from fixing the spider gears. I know this is a TJ issue with the spider gears,
I highly recommend that you go ahead and open that diff cover up, check those out if you're having any rear end noise. I would say 9 times out of 10 it's probably going to be that rear diff and those spider gears, especially seeing the amount of people that have that issue. So I hope this video helps somebody out. I know we cut through a bunch of the steps, and it might not have shown every single step in the process, but if there's questions or concerns with the part of the process, just let me know in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to do just a video on that certain area. Again, if you like these videos, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I'm putting out new videos. I'm going to try to put out some more videos more frequently now that this Jeep is fixed. So again, thank you to everybody that subscribed. I appreciate the views. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.